triangular, expanding population. The number of pre-reproductive individuals are large, reproductive are moderate, and post-reproductive are less. Now you can see the shape of the pyramid. Bell-shaped, stable population. The number of pre-reproductive and reproductive individuals almost equal in number, post-reproductive are less in number, and the shape will be bell-shaped. Urn-shaped, declining. Individuals of reproductive age group is more than the number of the pre-reproductive age group. Post-reproductive individuals are also considerably sizable. You can see 1970, 1990 and 2010. Population growth. The density of a population in a given habitat during a given period fluctuates due to changes in four basic processes, two of which, that is natality and immigration, results in increase in population, while the other two, that includes death and immigration, results in a decrease. Natality, number of births during a given period in a population. Mortality, the number of deaths in a population during a given period. Immigration, number of individuals of the same species that have come into the habitat from somewhere else during the time period under consideration. Immigration, number of individuals of a population who left the habitat and gone elsewhere during the time period under consideration. If n is the population density at time t, then its density at time t plus 1 is nt plus 1 equal to nt plus birth plus immigration minus death plus immigration. Exponential growth. You know we have two types of growth. Number one is exponential growth. Resources availability is essential for the unimpeded growth of a population. When resources in a habitat are unlimited, each species has the ability to realize fully its innate potential to increase in number. And you will see the exponential growth is also called as geometric growth, and here you will find a J-shaped curve. In such situation, the population grow in an exponential or geometric fashion. B is the per capita birth rate, D is the per capita death rate, then the increase or decrease in n during the unit time period t will be dn by dt will be dn by dt equal to b minus d into n. Let birth minus death equal to r, then dn by dt equal to rn. R here is the intrinsic rate of natural increase. Say for example in 1981, the R value for human population in India was 0.0205. The exponential or geometric growth results in a J-shaped curve when we plot n in relation to time. The integral form of the exponential growth equation is nt is equal to n0 ERT. Nt is the population density after time t. N0 is population density at time 0. R is the intrinsic rate of natural increase, and E the base of natural logarithm 2.71828. Here you can see the growth curve. Logistic growth. No population of any species in nature has on its disposal unlimited resources to have exponential growth. It leads to competition between individuals for limited resources. In nature, a particular habitat has enough resources to support a maximum possible number. Beyond that, no further growth is possible. And here you will see the growth curve of logistic growth is different from that of the exponential growth. A population growing with limited resources will have initially a lag phase, followed by phase of acceleration and deceleration, and finally an asymptote. This type of growth is referred as Verhulst per logistic growth and denoted by the following equation, that is dn by dt equal to Rn in bracket k minus n upon k, where n is the population density at time t, R is the intrinsic rate of natural increase, k is the carrying capacity. Here I would like to tell you that logistic growth model is considered to be a more realistic one as compared to exponential growth. Life history variation. Under certain selection pressure, the organism evolved towards the most efficient reproductive strategy. Ecologists are of the opinion that life history traits of an organism have evolved in relation to constraints imposed by both biotic as well as abiotic components of the habitat in which they are living. Population interaction. Let us take mutualism first. Mycorrhizae. You are familiar with. Mycorrhiza is a symbiotic relationship between the fungal mycelium and the roots of higher plants. Example you have studied in pinus and orchids. And you can see the mycorrhiza, the fungal hyphae attached to the roots of higher plants. And second, evolution of a flower and a pollinator. Say, for example, female wasps uses the fruit not only as a oviposition site, but developing seeds are used as a source of nourishment to larvae. So you can see, say for example in yucca, there is a symbiotic relationship between the moth, that is the pollinator, and the flower. Competition. Closely related species compete for the same resources. Say for example, a Migdon tortoise in Galapagos Islands became extinct within a decade after the goats were introduced on the land because both of them were competing for the same type of food. Gauss's competitive exclusion principle states that two closely related species competing for the same resources cannot coexist indefinitely, and the inferior one will eliminate eventually, and you can say in other words, the fittest would survive. Predation. A species facing competition might evolve mechanisms that promote coexistence rather than exclusion. Animal-eating plants are referred as herbivores, but in a broad ecological context, they are not much different from predators. Predators act as conduits for the energy transfer across the trophic level. When some exotic species are introduced into a new habitat, they become invasive and spread very fast because of the absence of natural predators. Now let us take an example. For example, prickly pear. Its botanical name is Argemone mexicana. Cactus introduced in 1920s in Australia. That plant got a very favorable conditions there, and it created a havoc by spreading rapidly into billions of hectares. This invasive cactus was brought under control after the cactus feeding predator, that is the moth, was introduced in the cactus occupied area, and this type of control is called as biological control. You can see here. In some cases, prey species have evolved various differences to decrease the impact of predation. For example, some species of insects and frogs are cryptically colored, that is called as camouflage. And you can see the frog developing the color according to the environmental conditions where it is living. In plant, thorns, that is acacia, cactus, are one of the most common means of defense. You can see the acacia with quite prominent thorns. Parasitism. Parasitism has evolved in many taxonomic group of plants and animals. Say, for example, Cuscutaceae family, Centellaceae, and other many parasitic angiospermic families. Malarial parasite needs a vector to spread to the other host, and you can see the female Anopheles responsible for the spread of malaria. Ectoparasite feed on external surface of host organism, e.g. lice on humans and ticks on dogs. Cuscuta, which is a total stem parasite, lost its chlorophyll and leaves and is now considered as a total stem parasite. You can see Cuscuta affecting the plant. Brood parasitism. Parasitic bird lays its eggs in the nest of the host and the host incubates it. During the course of evolution, the eggs of the parasitic bird resemble the host egg both in size and color, and you can see how much resemblance is there between the two. Commensalism. In this interaction, one species gets the benefit and the other neither benefited nor harmed. Say, for example, orchid growing as an epiphyte means it is growing just for the sake of shelter, deriving nothing from the host. Sea anemone in clownfish, fish getting protection of tentacles from predators. And commensalism, one species is harmed and the other is unaffected. This is commensalism and this is commensalism.